Hi guys!
Hi.
Hey! So we're here with
Tuesday Talk.
yes, Tuesday Talk!
We've been talking a lot more than 2 minutes. We gotta keep it going.
We have a lot to say.
We do have a lot to say, and today we're gonna talk a little bit on perspectives.
Yes.
I've got a whole new perspective since I'm not wearing glasses.
Oh yeah.
And we have a whole new
world.
perspective because we're outside.
Holla!
And if you also notice, we're not sitting in our usual spot.
Ah!
It's a different perspective over here.
Way different.
We're just taking it all in right now. So really what we came here to talk to you about is different perspectives in relationships, whether it's work or family, friends, as well as children perspectives, because we can be working with children and we can be explaining something and they're going to take it totally different sometimes than the way we expect them to take it. And so just being really mindful of what we say and how we deliver that and the words that we choose.
And really just realizing that sometimes it's so hard and so frustrating because you know your child and you know your child is super smart, they get it, you know, you feel that they understand, and then when they go and they do something and you're like, whoa, you know better. However, you know, it's really all perspective. Like, as a child, they may have learned something and you'd assume that they know better. However, they're still figuring out the little details within all that knowing and all that growing that they are really doing. So really just meeting children where they're at and their perspective, and even just realizing that's a huge step, is being aware of the fact that sometimes, you know, it took me a while with my more active children that need more attention, that I have, that, you know, can be a little more challenging, to realize that it's all perspective. You expect them as adults, sometimes it's hard not to expect them. You know how to act in public, you know how to do this, you know? Yeah, we're adults.
Social
and sometimes
norms.
And even as adults sometimes we know how to act in public and we don't, and sometimes it's like, whoa, why did you just act that way? Well, it's, you know, when different emotions hit, different triggers, different social, emotional, or like, what do I want to call those? Subconscious. Subconscious things come up and you act a way that you're like, whoa, I know better. However, in that moment, there was no other choice for me. There was another choice, however, I wasn't conscious of the other choices. So really realizing that we haven't mastered that as adults, so how can we expect children to like get it together? You know better. You don't cry in public. We've been forced to hold back our tears because it's not acceptable. However,
So I think really taking what Lauren has to say, and in my own perspective, I feel as though saying that you know better is not true at all.
No,
so
it's
let's
not.
just stay away from that phrase.
yes.
And also adding on to how we were brought up, everyone's different, every family is different, every upbringing is going to be different, and so I feel as though some parents allowed us to cry and others were like, no, stop. Mine
You're
was,
tough.
if you don't have any bones sticking out of your body, I think you're okay, and even then we'll handle it. So rub some dirt on it and go play. That was my upbringing. So now that I learned that, and I had to deal with my own emotions growing up, and now having a daughter of my own, I let her cry it out for as long as you need to, girl, because once you're done, then we can come back in and start really figuring out why and how we can move on and learn from this.
And that's a good opportunity to move through it. I think that's really important, to let your child feel those emotions, because no, we don't know better. It's not like a thing.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, there's things that happen in the moment, there's subconscious, conscious, all this stuff that goes on, that goes into creating decisions and really being mindful. And in the moments, it's in the moment, and that's how we actually strive to live our lives. And so being able to be more present and in that moment and in ourselves in that moment, Even if it means crying. You can ask these ladies. Sometimes it's hard for me to cry.
Yeah.
However, it is so therapeutic, and especially for children. Cry it out. Because once the kids let those emotions out of their bodies, then it's like, okay, I understand you are frustrated. How can we handle it better next time? So next time you're frustrated, what can we do? And that's where the magic happens, and you can move through those emotions and give them those little tools. Like, oh, you're upset this time. Well, next time we're upset, we can just take 5 deep breaths or count backwards from 10 and give them those tools to, tuck away in their toolbox so that when they experience those big emotions and those perceptions that may not be real, because they're going to have their own perceptions like we do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And also, like, I've actually observed a lot of adults say, oh, it's not a big deal. But they've only been on this earth for a few years, and it really is a big deal to them.
Oh, yeah.
So, like Lauren said, I understand. I hear you saying this. I see that you're frustrated. Notice and appreciate where they are in this moment and support them and guide them into, making clear-minded thoughts and choices so that they can be mindful of, I am crying right now. So why am I crying? How can I fix this? And go from there.
And I read this thing, Supporting Sensitive Children. If you do not follow her, do it. Her name is Jen. I forgot her last name. However, I was reading something that she posted, and it was about how if we're telling them, like, you're okay, something I even used to say was turn the tears off, like, you're okay. Like, that's, no,
They're
I
not
didn't know, but
okay.
I didn't know better at that point in time. That was a couple years ago in my life. And, and you don't know better. However, I read that Supporting Sensitive Children wrote that when you let children know you understand, and even if it's like, I understand that it's upsetting that you cannot do this right now because it's something you really want to do. When you meet them where they're at, that gives them the comfort to confide in you and really open up to you, and you to be that safe space for them. Like, oh, she understands. It's not like you're going to let them get away with it. Like, you're not like, oh, well, that's okay, but I understand you're frustrated. However, here's a better option. Here's something we can do next time. Let's work through this together. So just letting the kid know you understand, even if it's something, I'm sorry you cannot stick your hand in your poopy diaper. And sometimes you have to tell a 1.5-year-old that. You're like, I am so sorry. I know.
It feels so squishy.
Yeah,
We get
I
it. But let's find something else. Let's make slime.
Let's go to the sandbox,
Sensory.
Meeting them where they're at really opens the communication up, and for them to be like, okay, they understand now. Let's see if they have any. It subconsciously triggers that. Now I can talk to them and we can move through this.
Yeah. And even if they fall down and they're not going to be hurt, you can still ask, are you okay? It might have been scary that they fell and they were like super close to getting really hurt. They kind of, you never know. And to them, it is a big deal. So always take the time. Are you okay? You're good? All right, let's keep moving then. Because we want to be there for them. We want to support them, and we want them to know that although we don't truly understand how they're feeling, we want to, and we want to be there for them.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And I mean, we see perspective a lot in yoga classes. Like, I might say a certain guide to get in a certain posture, and I'll watch people not get there. I'm like, okay, well, to me, it was clear. However, I am visually seeing that it was not clear to everybody. So how can I rephrase that to better suit everybody else? And then eventually, ideally, I get to a point where they have found their way into their posture, and I've gotten to see the various perspectives on how my words are interpreted. And we see that so much even just with each other when we're talking, and someone might say something, we'll be like, well, actually, I see it this way. Or when you say this, I see it this way. And so as adults, as children, when you're communicating with your loved ones, with your coworkers, I mean, whatever it is, it's so important to just keep in mind, how is this being interpreted from somebody else's shoes?
Yeah, and especially, I read a book called Extreme Ownership, and it's written for Navy SEALs, and it literally talks about like how at the top, if someone, even at the bottom, that you've told this person who's supposed to tell this person who's supposed to if it is misinterpreted, even at the very bottom, there's something that you need to reevaluate, like it's not necessarily a negative, but how can I better phrase this?
Yeah.
Because each person's going to interpret it differently, to where, how can I better phrase something or get my point across to where it's going to be the same results across the board.
Yeah.
And that's like taking extreme ownership is like,
Yeah.
that's like a Navy SEALs tactic, to where you realize that there's different perspectives, and then you can adjust to those perspectives, or even just the different styles of perspectives, you know?
Yeah, and
So.
everyone learns differently as well. So taking into account when I'm in my classroom and I'm giving directions, and then I have children come up to me and they ask, okay, so what are we doing, or what am I supposed to be using right now? How am I, as the instructor or the teacher, actually using my words to best help these children? What am I doing? I never even think about, okay, so were you not paying attention? No, I don't even go there, because that's not the point of teaching. I need to reflect on my own words, my delivery, my choice of words. And if I'm being mindful in that moment and really looking at each child, do you understand? Ask me a question. Don't even ask for questions. Just say, what are your questions? Tell me a question. Let's go.
Let me help you.
And then that way I can understand them, they can understand me, and it'll all work out. Communication is super important when it comes to perspective. And like you were saying, everyone is going to take things differently, and you see it all the time.
Yeah. And it's just really a matter of, like, how are you going to look at today? Perspective starts when you wake up in the morning.
Yes.
So how are you guys going to choose to look at today?
Yeah,
you guys
it's
wanna-
been raining lately where we're from.
Yeah.
Oceanside, California. So we got a day break with the sun, so we
it's
decided
so
to
beautiful
come out
out
here.
today.
And I notice a lot of people complain about the rain, but you can have that perspective and be miserable and upset and, oh no, now I'm gonna be wet walking into the office or wherever I'm going. Or you can say the earth really needs water and this is beautiful. I just got a new car wash
Dance
now.
in the
This is
rain.
great, you know?
Dance in the rain,
It's all
fam.
about perspective.
I agree.
Yeah, cool.
Learn to dance in the rain.
Well,
All right. Well,
thanks,
thank you guys for joining
Thanks
us.
for joining our Tuesday talk.
Tuesday Talks.
We look forward to hearing your feedback, how you feel about perspectives, how you see it in your daily life, how you see it with your child, and tell us your stories. Share your experience with us. We'd love to hear it.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
great day.
guys.